I'm Bruce Blitz, and welcome to Cartooning with Blitz. Now, here I am in my studio. Everything's fine, everything's in place. But what would happen if I ended up in this setting? Now, what's wrong with this picture? Well, for one thing, I'm sitting on a fire hydrant, and my drawing table turned into a tree stump, and my bookshelf turned... Hi, guys. Nice to see you. Glad you could come. Well, I got good light. That part's not bad. But you know what? This just isn't the right setting to draw cartoons. I just got to get back. Well, it's nice to be outdoors, but it's nice to be back, too. And okay. Now, for our feature of the day, we're going to create a peaceful snow scene with a portrait of an oak tree by moonlight. And we'll be using our color sticks for that, so stay tuned for that. I know you'll like that. And for our doodle trick portion, a chalk talk gag with a surprise ending. I won't tell you what it is. You got to stay tuned. So let's get started. And I'd like to show you a couple neat effects with shadowing. Now, years ago, there was a radio show that said, "The shadow knows." Now, I don't remember that personally, but we're going to do the shadow knows right now, because the shadow is what really makes your drawings have a three-dimensional look. Now, I've got here a drawing of a fire hydrant. Now, first we're going to decide which way the light is coming from. And it's coming from the upper right like this. That means we're going to shade the left side. First, we'll add some color. I'm using a marker. And I'm going to leave some white on the right-hand side, because, as I said, if the light is coming from the right-hand side, that would be the side getting the most light and would be lighter. This side would be darker. Now, we're going to create a shadow effect, but we're going to use a marker for that. And I'll show you an effect called cross-hatching. Now, the light's coming up here. This side is not seeing the light. It'll be a little darker. Now, I'm doing that with some lines. Now, a marker can't make it gray. It's either black or white. But if you make lines like this, you can create a gray effect, can't you? And if you go back the other way, that's called cross-hatching. And then you get a grayed down look to it. Now, right over here, we'll be casting a shadow underneath that little lip right there. All right. There you have it. There you have the prop, and you have it shaded accordingly. Now we're going to add the shadow. And the shadow extends from the side that is shaded and takes on the shape on which it falls, which in this case is the sidewalk. And you see how this goes straight out along the sidewalk. And it takes on the shape of the object itself, which in this case is a long cylinder shape of the fire hydrant. But this is the cool part. Right over here, we've got steps. That's what those lines are. Now watch what happens to the shadow. It actually climbs the step. I go back this way. This one goes the same way as the cement on the pavement. And we continue up. And there it is. That's pretty cool, huh? So it takes on the shape on which it falls. We can even go back once more. And just do the rounded part on the top. Pretty cool, huh? And it really gives it a three-dimensional look. Let's do another one. And I'll show you another example. And here we have a fellow leaning up against the fence. Okay, he's all colored in, but there's no shadow. Now, if the light is coming from this side here, it would be casting a shadow over here. Now, here's the pavement again, so let's have a shadow coming out of him this way. And what's next? Well, we've got a fence. Well, just like that other one climbed up the steps, this one goes right up the fence. And we'll fill all this in using a big broad tip marker to cover a lot of area. And you see how that works? Plus, it gives you some dimension to the picture. And I got another one for you. Okay, now this is the same fella, and maybe he slipped. So he's all colored in. Pick up the marker, and as I said, the shadow takes on the shape of the object itself. Now here we have a fella who's falling. His arms are out like that. Now you don't have to draw the exact figure again. You have to make it a little bit misty, because it's far away from the ground and it's not like touching like his foot was touching before. So it's a little on the shaky side. You see, it's like in the distance. But you see what I'm doing? I'm recreating the object itself. His legs are out, so I've done that down here, and his arms are extended. And there you have another example. Let's put some cartoon effects and accessories. Ready? Watch this. Like he just slipped. And I'll even put a sound effect. Two S's and a L-I-P. Slip. And there you have it. Now let's do another one. But first it's time for the gag sketch of the day. And today it is a word tune. Can you guess what that is? Well, here it is. Ready? Adorable. See? Adorable. Adorable. All right. Let's move on. Now I'm going to show you an example of some backgrounds. Now I've got two characters sitting here. Well, I got one character sitting, and the other one is standing up, and it's a waiter and a fella in a restaurant. So we're going to create like a little restaurant scene. Now, right in front of him, we're going to make a cylinder shape. Start with an oval. And we're going to have him sitting at a little table. There's the oval. Now, all we have to do is come down like this, flares out a little bit, and we'll make a wavy line for the tablecloth. And some detail like that. And there he is. Now, let's put another table in the distance. Now, we're going to make the same object, the same kind of table behind him. See how he's overlapping that a little bit so you don't see the whole thing. And I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. I'm not bearing down on that marker. And I also don't come right up to touch. I leave a little bit of white space between the character and the other prop. All right, now right here I'm going to make the horizon line, and I'm going to go straight across the back. I'm not doing it in perspective or on an angle or anything. It's going to be a straight horizon line. And over here, let's create another table. But you know what? Let's make it real large. Of course, it's in the foreground. And perspective is, even though objects are exactly the same size, but when seen in perspective, one could appear a little bit larger than the other. This one here is the same size as this table, but it's closer to us. So what happens? It appears to be larger than this one. Let's put some detail here. That's like the pulling of the tablecloth. All right, now let's continue this line over. We can even add a chair. That's a prop. Remember, we're setting the stage for your cartoons. And maybe a little bit of a chair peeking out from behind him. And let's see what else we can do. Well, how about a door? Lightly. This will be the kitchen door, maybe. And that's in the background. And kitchen doors in restaurants always have that circle, like a glass opening. And then you have this part here where you push. And what else could it have? Well, it could have a picture on the wall, again, lightly. And I don't want to have it touching too much of the characters up front. Just slightly, because we're just setting the stage. We're just adding some props so it looks like a complete scene. Now for shadow, he can have a shadow extending out of this side here. And right over there. And there it is. All right, let's do another one. This time we'll have two characters interacting, and we'll use perspective. And perspective in this case will draw you in to the scene. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to draw a woman over here, and she'll be shopping, standing in front of a counter. Some hair. Here's her nose, and here's her facial outline, and a smile, and an eye, eyebrow. Okay, now we're going to put her arm in, and here's her hand. Put a coat, collar, and her legs. Now over on the right hand side, I'm going to let's put a pocketbook on her arm. How's that? That's a prop. And that's what we want to do today. All right, over here, I'm going to put the clerk. Here's his nose, big smile. Of course, he's a friendly clerk. Here's his eyes. Here's some hair. And let's define his facial outline there a little bit. Let's give him a bow tie. He's dressed for success, folks. And here's his body. Now, I'm going to stop there because I'm going to have him behind the counter. Now, here where the setting the stage comes in. Let's put a line over him like that, and another line here. Now, you see how it gets a little bit narrow in the distance? And what I'm going to do is make the L part of this counter come this way, and like that. Now, I'm going to put a frame around this. So if you were creating a gag panel, you know what a gag panel is, like those single block jokes that you see in the newspaper or magazines, you would make your panel like this, which is nothing but a rectangle or a square, and then fill it up. Now we know where our parameters are. So here's the counter, and a couple of vertical lines like this to make it look like it's upright. Same thing here. Put some vertical lines. That's the front of the counter. Now, This is the perspective part. We're going to make a line going this way now, not like before where we had that horizon line straight across this way. We're going to have a diagonal line. Now we're going to make a line here where the walls meet, again leaving her to stand out a little bit. Now we'll put some props in there, like a door. That's a prop. A doorknob. And some shelves on the wall. And there it is. Put some shadowing on her as well. Okay, now, if you were going to have some dialogue, you could have it on the bottom here. You could have a talk balloon. But the point is, we are drawing you, the viewer, the reader, in this way. And that's what the composition does. And there they are. Now let's put a little color in. Now, like before, with the fire hydrant and the table with the tablecloth, they are geometric forms, and all objects in this world can be broken down to 4 basic forms, and that is the sphere, the cylinder, the cone, and the cube. Now, the fire hydrant was a cylinder shape, and then you shade accordingly, and the side that is not seeing the light is the side that gets the darkest value. Let's see, let's put some orange in the floor. You know what? We'll make like diagonal lines, like the same way the wall and the counter goes, and then we're going to create a crisscross effect, like a tile floor. And that also creates a little bit of depth to the picture, doesn't it? Maybe a little bit of blue in the background. Let the character stand out a little bit. And that's a great way to lay out the panel. Okay, so today you've seen a few different techniques, one using shadows, and for backgrounds, even one using perspective. And if you put these elements together, it's a great way to set the stage. And speaking of setting the stage, I'd like to set the stage now for you to watch the feature of the day. Stay tuned. Now for our feature today, we're going to create a snow scene by moonlight with a portrait of an oak tree. Now we're going to use a different kind of paper today. We're going to use a toned paper. I'm using like a deep blue to create the feeling of nighttime. So let's get started, and I'll use my color sticks, and I'll use powder white, that's what it's called. And a little bit below halfway on this page, I'm going to start, and I'm going to create a piece of land that I'm going to go over to past half going this way. There you go, that's all you have to do. Now I'm going to use a ruler, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but get a straighter line this way, but you get the feeling of looseness if you don't. It's all up to you. And that's going to be the horizon line in the back. And over here we're going to create some more snow. Now that we've got all that, we're going to create some mountains. Now watch how you do this. They're cone-like forms, a big one in the center, and that's all you have to do. Now once you have all this drawn, we're going to fill it in. And I'm going to lay my color stick on its side, cover a lot of ground that way, and if you go over that line, you can correct it as you go back. Now this is a sphere. The top of this piece of ground here is a sphere-like form, and we're going to go back and shade that accordingly in a moment. Fill these in, and again you can just fix that up as you go. Now we're going to go up and down strokes for the mountains. We'll add some tone first, and then we'll go back and add some shading. And the next thing we're going to do is put the moon in. And in this case, it's going to be the light source. And when you're shading things, you must always be aware of from which direction the light is coming from. So right here, we're going to create a circle. See how I make that shape before I even lower the chalk to the paper, and I get that nice shape. There you go, color that in. All right, now we're ready to go back with a little bit of blue and start putting some shading in. So if the light source is coming this way, these cone-like forms would be darker on the side away from the light. So we lay it on the side and we'll carve some chunks out. See that little peak right there? We'll make a little line like that, then fill it in. And we can do that over here. We'll lay it down, and as I go down, I'm moving that chalk a little bit to get some character to that line. You want to make your mountains look as craggy, and I love that word, as you can. We'll do some more in here, watch. Bearing down on that side, and this side's a little thinner, creating the illusion of depth. All right, a little bit more on that side. All right, now we want to create some trees in the distance, and I'm going to use a sharper point of that same color blue. And up and down strokes like this will create that illusion for us. That's called aerial perspective when you see something in the distance like that, kind of in a misty color. See, when you take things step by step, it's not intimidating at all. All right, now I'm going to take some of that same blue and lay it on its side and create some water right in the middle here. And later on, we'll add some reflections. Right now, I'm going to use a little bit of white and create some clouds. Now, see what I do? Very lightly in the background, go over the moon. And now let's shade this area right here. Now, as I said, this is going to be the top of a ball or a sphere. And if the light is coming up from this direction, this side would be a little bit darker, giving the illusion of roundness. And over here, well, same thing. These rounded edges here would be not seeing as much light. Let's fix up this, clean this up a little bit. All right, now it's time to put in our tree. Now, a tree is a cylinder form, and we'll build it piece by piece. And we'll have some character. Change direction this way. Now go back up and go right off that page. And then tapering as we go. Now, the roots are actually cone shapes. I'll put another one right over here, digging into this ground, supporting this massive oak. Put another one right there. All right, now we'll draw some limbs. And you want to bend that line and get as much character to your tree as you can. Okay, now we'll make a big branch coming off this way, even going up past that moon. And we'll double that line, tapering as we go, twisting a little bit. And that's what gives you that irregular line. Let's do another one over here. See, I'm twisting it. It's a little bit like it's out of control. Now, not very out of control. You're still controlling it, but it's kind of doing what it wants there. It gives you that nice shape. Now, I'm going to use some black here. Now, this limb is totally away from the light, being blocked by the tree. So what I'll do is do it the whole thing in black, because it's completely in the shadow. Okay, now it's time to fill it all in. I'll fill the black one in first. All right. Now, let's take some of that brown again and fill in the whole tree that we've already drawn. See, we've created our own coloring book. Go right up that shape. And we can clean it up here a little bit. That's the good thing about using these color sticks. If you go past the line, you can just go over the rest of the drawing and it covers it, just like when we created the tree. Up here. All right, now that we've got that filled in, we can go back and shade it. Well, let's get those roots. Using the black again, if this is the side away from the light, this is the side that gets the darkness. And I'm bearing down with a little bit more hand pressure on the left-hand side, and it gradually gets a little lighter, all in one step. Let's go back over that a little bit more. Go up. Now this branch over here, the bottom part wouldn't be seeing the light, so we darken that in. Same thing on this branch here. The bottom part does not see as much light. Getting a little lighter as it gets towards the top. You see how that just makes it come to life a little bit? Now we're going to add some shading to the roots, which if they're cones, well, this one here might even be totally in the darkness. And this one here on the side. Now we have to add some texture to the bark. when you have a lot of time, you can go back and really go to town with this. And right here, let's put a big knot hole. Some lines around it. Some more texture. And it's coming together. Now, if this moon was hitting it this way, we'd also be casting a shadow. And the shadow extends out of the shaded side, taking on the shape on which it falls. In this case, it's round. A little bit in there from that root. And I like that. Now what we're going to do is take a little bit of white and lay it on its side and have some pulling down strokes, and we'll get some reflection in the water. Watch this. Straight down, try to go as vertical as you can. And see how that just comes to life a little bit more? All right. Now, I like the way that looks, but look what a frame or a mat does to enhance a drawing like this. And you could give this to your family or friends, and they can hang it on the wall, and it's something you can be proud of. Now stay tuned for Cartoon Doodle Tricks. Welcome to today's Doodle Tricks, and I got some cool doodle tricks for you, and some cool friends that stop by. I'd like to welcome them. Hi, guys.
Hi.
All right, let's start with a couple letters from the alphabet. The letters H and an A. Right there. Okay, now I won't tell you what this is going to be. I'll draw some eyes, eyebrows, turn this into a nose and a smile right there. And some strokes like this. I won't tell you. Anybody getting an idea who that is yet, maybe? Abraham Lincoln. Very good. Okay. That'll be his brim. And that's a stovepipe hat. And the HA stands for Honest Abe, because that was his nickname. The 16th president of our country. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for you. And this time, I'll draw an animal, and I won't tell you what it is. I'll let you guess. Anybody know what that might be?
A whale.
A whale, that's right. That's a whale. And there's an eye and there's a smile. Now, a whale is the largest animal in the sea. It's twice the size of you and me. With some lines here and there, with pen in hand, we can turn them into the largest animal on land, an elephant. Smile there, add another eye, and there he is. Pretty cool, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, and I hope you've enjoyed it at home, and of course my friends in the studio. Now, for our tip of the day, it would be nice if ideas just came to us real easy, but you know what? For inspiration, don't sit and wait. Sometimes you just got to dig in and create. I'm Brusa Blica saying thanks for being with me today, and help me out, guys.
Keep on cartooning!
Just like that.